In the far north, small Arctic communities sit on the absolute edge of the wild. Between 2010 and 2014, polar bear attacks on humans rose to the highest levels in recorded history. These encounters became a routine threat, and in several cases, they turned fatal. In Inuit communities like Arviat, residents began reporting a massive surge in bear sightings. With predators pressing right up against cabin doors, the proximity has turned the daily threat into a constant, localized danger. Witnessing these animals in their streets every day, local leaders reached a logical conclusion. The bear population is booming. They have called on the government to increase legal hunting quotas to protect their families. However, the scientific data tells a different story. Researchers surveying the Western Hudson Bay subpopulation found that numbers have actually dropped by roughly 50% since the 1970s. This creates a strange contradiction. How can an apex predator be overrunning human settlements while its total population is in a state of collapse? This surge in human-bear conflict serves as an early indicator that the local ecosystem is starting to fail. For a polar bear, sea ice is a specialized hunting platform. They rely on it to reach seals, using that high-fat diet to build the massive energy reserves that they need to survive the year. When the ice melts, that hunting access disappears. The bears are forced onto land to fast, surviving solely on their stored body fat until the bay refreezes. This chart shows the energy reserves of a fasting polar bear over time. New biological models confirm that a bear on land enters a state of rapid depletion, losing exactly 1 kilogram of body mass every single day. There is a hard limit to this math. If a bear is forced to fast for 180 days, its reserves drop so low that up to 63% of subadults will die of starvation. NOAA data shows that climate change is making the hunting season shorter. The ice is melting earlier and refreezing later, which keeps the bears trapped on land for longer periods. In 2024, the ice-free period reached a record-breaking 197 days, pushing the bears' energy reserves toward the breaking point. The bears' biology hasn't changed, but the environmental timeline they need to survive has been broken. The geography of Hudson Bay creates a final refuge. Because of counterclockwise water currents, the winter ice lingers longest in the south, along the boreal forest coastline. A 2021 aerial survey of this southern region documented a surprising 29% increase in the local bear count. This data masks a bleaker reality. The surge in numbers isn't a sign of a recovering population or a baby boom. This map shows how the bay's currents are redistributing the population. As the western ice disappears, starving bears are migrating south, funneling onto the last remaining fragments of ice, which happen to be right next to human settlements. The bears aren't multiplying. They are being compressed into denser, desperate groups along a shrinking coastline. When locals see a crowded coast, they are actually seeing a population driven into their towns by starvation. Increasing the legal harvest to manage these sightings would likely accelerate the extinction of an already fragile population. Because lethal force is no longer a viable management tool, towns are having to radically adapt their infrastructure to survive the overlapping territory. The town of Churchill uses the Polar Bear Alert Program to safely move problem bears. Specialized teams intercept and trap bears that wander into town, holding them until they can be released back onto the sea ice. New technology is also filling the gap. This is BearDar, a radar system originally developed for the military. The system uses AI to spot bears during blinding whiteout snowstorms. When a bear approaches, it automatically triggers sirens and lights to scare the animal away, while sending a GPS warning to everyone in the area. Radar towers and patrols successfully save lives on the ground, but they cannot stop the environmental shifts driving the bears toward the towns. If the natural sea ice cycle isn't restored, the polar bear's energy reserves will simply run out.